This is Fit FM 96.7. Duncan Strelorny.
Hi, I'm Carl Core. Join me Monday to Friday for Children of the Night. Let me keep your company playing your favorites on this station, Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Children of the Night.
The Heart Place and Wellness Center, located at 103 Main Street in Ocho Rios, now has a new location at 21 Queen Street in Falmouth, Trelawney, offering ECG, echocardiograms, stress test, 24-hour blood pressure monitoring, and adult cardiology consultations. Our opening hours are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. To schedule an appointment, call 876-417-5164, 876-228-8124, or email us at info@theheartplaceja.com. With a healthy heart, the beat goes on.
Get this up, we mean this. Yeah, so you come get your tablet. And all when you left man, you happy come back on me. Know you happy buy one of them your laptop. Best of business, a serious business. We sell all electrical appliances and all of your car accessories. Come a get stop, you know no problem.
Best Apps Technology, Shop 25, Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney. Telephone 876-394-5484. Best Apps, we only deliver the best.
Join Fit FM weeknights at 8 p.m. for News Brief, a compilation of news stories from Trelawney and neighboring parishes provided by credible news sources, with a repeat at 10 a.m. weekday mornings. That's News Brief, weeknights at 8 p.m., with a repeat weekdays at 10 a.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Phoenix Health and Vision Center now has 2 locations. St. Anne's Bay, 65 Main Street beside the Health Center. And now Shop 30 Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney. You heard me right. Shop 30 Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney. The only full-service eye care center for all your designer frames and designer glasses. Complete eye care. Book all your appointments now in St. Anne's Bay. Call 876-972-2388. 876-589-8327. For Falmouth and its environs, call this number, 876-533-0540. Looking forward to seeing you at both locations. Phoenix Health and Vision Center. Now at Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney.
Do you have home repairs or maybe a renovation? How about a fresh coat of paint with a splash of customized color? Visit Carib Sales Hardware in Duncan, Trelawney, and let us help you with everything you need for your home. You name it, we have it. Call us at 876-954-2220. Carib Sales Hardware. You name it, we have it.
Are you struggling with loneliness? Feeling depressed? Are you searching for a purpose to live? Are you ready to tap into your inner greatness? Ready to soar to your full potential? Come and be inspired. Join me, Dr. Asha Mwendo, on Healing Moment inside Gospel and Soul every Wednesday, 6 p.m., where we will help you to understand your purpose. We will help you to find your wind. We'll show you how to open your wings and fly. Healing Moments, Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
This is Fit FM 96.7.
Good evening. How are you this evening, my people? Listening worldwide and locally here in Jamaica. I want to say a good evening to you all despite the challenges we are facing. We are alive and well. So I am Dr. Asha Mwendo coming to you this evening from studios of Fit FM 96.7 with Healing Moments. And we are being brought to you this evening with the kind support of Plant Gallery out of Carey Park. And you can contact us, work with us, call us, WhatsApp us on 876-482-4944 or call, message, and WhatsApp on 876-317-1991. Remember, we are on all social media platforms, and you can listen to us streaming live on fitfmja.com. Off the top of it, we continue to tell you that Healing Moments join with the call for elimination of violence against women and girls, especially now. Come on, people. My guests this evening are Tashima Brown and Doreen Monique Young. You'll hear more about them later on. And this evening, we are focusing on surviving gender-based violence and the psychological impact of gender-based violence and domestic violence. But you know the drill. So now you're going to tell a friend that Healing Moments is on with Dr. Asha Mwendo on Fit FM. And you're also going to get your pen, get your sip, get ready to be a part of the conversation as you listen to this and then come right back.
It's all for you, mama. Baby, my whole lot to say. Without your love, I would be wasted. Through the years of toil and pain, you were always there for me. You held my hands when things got rough, stood by me when things were too tough, but I never showed my gratitude. But Mommy always had been there. And time is flying by, and I know that I want the world to hear me say that Mom, you're the best, the greatest. Without your love, I wouldn't make it. So sweet and kind, but in a lifetime. But bye-bye, I love you. Yeah. At times we have our differences. We don't say the nicest things, but relationships go up and down. So we've learned to live with this. But when those storms have passed us by, we see the value of what we share. And that is why I wrote this song for you, letting you know my love is here. Mom, you're the best, the greatest. Without your love, I wouldn't make it. So sweet and kind, one in a lifetime. But Mama, I wanna say, waiting my whole life just to say, you're the best, the greatest. Without your love, I know I wouldn't make it. So sweet and kind, one in a lifetime. The greatest. Without your love, I know I wouldn't make it. You're the best, greatest.
Okay, yes, that's tribute to Mother. And that is written by a friend of mine and sung by him too, Dave Gale. You can hit him up on YouTube. He has some lovely, lovely songs. And I'm going to shout out, Mother's Day shout out to Sister Gale all the way up there in Mandeville. We go from way back when. Yes, from I was a young girl in Mandeville. I know this young man, and he has come a long way, and I love that music. And can I tell you, when I told him I was using the music this evening, he said, oh, take the tribute to yourself too. So I get the tribute to you, and I see my friend Heather Tyndale is watching me all the way from England. Girl, we come a long way, haven't we? Yes, God is good. So you see how we start off with that beautiful song, because we're starting off, shouting out to our mothers this week, because Mother's Day I won't be on. Yeah, right. So I'm shouting out to all our mothers. And remember now, if you want to get your mom a plant, you can go to Plant Gallery in Carey Park. So Plant Gallery have lots of plants, lovely plants, and they will wrap them nicely for you. The contact number is 876-471-4448 or 876-793-9132. And the persons you're going to talk with when you call can be either Clifton or Faye Davy. And they have lots and lots of plants. And so therefore, and I'm also giving a special shout out this evening. The first person that called in when we open the phone for calling time for that will get for themselves a Mother's Day plant to give to their mother. And if you're a mother, you want to keep it for yourself, that's up to you. But we have a plant giveaway this evening, but it goes to the first person that called in and share in the program. So you have to call in while the program is going on, and you have to share in the program, and then we will have your name down for a gift. So I'll remind you of the numbers again that you will call. WhatsApp is 876-482-4944, or you can call, message, or WhatsApp on 876-317-1991. So if you want to be part of that this evening, you have to call in and participate in the conversation. Now, someone asked me earlier today, how are you? And I said to the person, don't let me tell you how I am. Let me tell you I'm all right. And that is saying that it is hard to be all right now, because too much foolishness going on in our society, right? We have 5 young ladies. We have five men who rape off, although they call it buggery, one of our little teenage daughters, one of our little teenage sisters, right? And we can't even call it rape legally because the law don't permit it. So when we have our skewed opinion of society and we don't want to put things in place that everybody get equal treatment, we also allow those innocent to suffer among us. And to be honest, I am wondering, for the persons who really fought against us getting this as a rape charge, today, how are you feeling? Or do you have another Bible verse or something to justify this foolishness that we have to put up with in our society? A 5-year-old boy being buggered. And for me, for the young girl, not was only she raped, but she was battered. Anybody remember that term when we're going up here about the battered girl? And so she was battered, buggered, and I call it she was raped by 5 men. I don't care what you want to call it. And I understand the law have to have it away. But we need to get these things changed. Advocates, where are you? I need to hear your voice. I am not telling you to put on blue, black, or green. I am not telling you to go march in the streets. I am telling you, let us start calling all the call shows. Let's start write advocacy papers. Let's start put articles in the Gleaner, the newspaper. All the papers are out there. Let us raise our voices as a people and let change happen. We are the ones who have to create that groundswell, that agitation, if we want to see more. If you love your sister, you love your daughter, you love your little baby brother, let us raise our voices. It cannot be all right. Listen to me. I don't know what kind of justification we can get for this. We need a change. We need a change, and we need it right now. I have a case where a mother is turning out her child who dare to report that she's been molested by a family member. Come on, mothers. Where's your bowel of love and compassion? We can't continue so. It's not right. And then we have the men who blame the women for everything under the sun. So if the man bad, a woman fault. If he's toxic, it's our fault. Come on, man. If you know as a man you have some mental issues you need to work out, you have challenges, get help. Just like how it will say to a woman, get help. I'm saying to our men, get help. We love you, we care for you, but we will not condone this kind of foolishness from you either. And the men who are disgusted by what is happening, raise your voices right along with us. We have no problem holding hand with you and calling you our brother when you deserve to be called a brother. But we have no problem calling you out when you are wrong. And ladies who are condoning this kind of nonsense, come on, man, stop it. You are our worst enemy. We need to come together and change the story and change the game. We need to do better. Then there's another thing that I have been talking about for a while, and this is happening in our society now. Make it even more important to me. Our women's center. I don't think any women are going to these centers. I don't think the centers are accommodating women, to the best of my knowledge. I think we need to change that name from Women's Center, because it's underage girls that get pregnant go there. And some of them might just reach the age of consent, as we want to call it. And I know the law, how it is, but I have a problem with a 16-year-old being expected to give consent for sex, but can't give consent to go vote or anything else. And when they give consent to have sex, according to the law, the child is still underage. So if she gets pregnant, no, I am to become a mother and father and grandmother and all of these things. Come on, so come on, people. We need to get it right. It is getting on top of my nerves now. When you look at the number of issues we have right now, we have a young girl who needs to find somewhere to live. We're trying to find more than one that we need to find place to live. We have 10 young ladies that we need to sort out and 16 children. And I am quite sure that there's some organization somewhere that is looking about some more women and children and girls too that need to be cared for. We need you to rise up and say it is enough, and we also need you to partner with us to create that change. I feel so good. I see that my guests are on already, and I am almost sure that they agreed in the conversations that we are having here. Good evening, ladies. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening. Are you doing okay?
Okay, good. And so it's good to have you on with us. And so you hear me ranting and raving. And I hope that we will all raise our voices to create the change that we want to see. And I'm quite sure that, ladies, you are here this evening because you are a part of the change. You are the ones who are doing the difference and making it different. So I'm just going to give our listeners a little music to listen to, and then we will transition into introducing you to the world. Okay?
Okay.
Good.
Later, my whole lot to say. Without your love, I was naked. Through the years of toil and pain, you were always there for me. You held my hands when things got rough, stood by me when things were too tough, but I never showed my gratitude. But Mommy always had been there. The time is flying by, and I know that I want the world to hear me say that Mom, you're the best, the greatest. Without your love, I wouldn't make it. So sweet and kind, but in a lifetime. But bye-bye, I love you. Yeah. At times we have our differences. We don't say the nicest things. But relationships go up and down. So we've learned to live with this. But when those storms have passed us by, we see the value of what we share. And that is why I wrote this song for you, letting you know my love is here. Oh, you're the best, the greatest.
Okay, so welcome back this evening. I have with me two lovely ladies. So my first guest will be Tashima Brown, and she is a gender-based violence survivor, a family liaison officer at E for Life, and she will tell us what that means. And also on with us this evening is Doreen Monique Young, an associate clinical psychologist, and another part that I love, she's a certified Florida board certified sex therapist. And so therefore we are in for an interesting evening this evening. So good evening, ladies. How are you?
Good evening.
Well, good evening.
Good evening. Awesome. So I want both of you to feel welcome, but we're going to start the conversation off with Tashima this evening. So Tashima, first tell us who you are and what you do. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I am a 32-year-old young mother of two, a family liaison officer at E for Life. And my work at E for Life, well, I'm very passionate about the work that I do. Most of the time, I go out in the field, I do a lot of home visits, I do clinic visits as well. I check in on my clients, I make sure that they are okay, I make sure that
So
they have what they
just
need.
before you go
I do
further,
various assessments.
hello, just before you go further, who or what is E for Life?
Well, E for Life is a non-governmental organization that caters for young persons who are either infected or affected by HIV/AIDS and persons who are facing forms of gender-based violence.
Awesome.
So we mentor young women.
Yes. You mentor young women and girls.
Yes.
Good.
And we do skills building training with
Mm-hmm.
them as well. They have a counselor in-house that helps with their psychosocial needs as well. We offer small care packages where necessary and when we can, because we are mostly run by funders, right?
Right.
And if anyone is listening to the program and can offer any funding to E for Life, because we are doing
Of
amazing work,
course.
and some of our clients are most in need, even in the time of COVID here. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of our clients are facing dire need of assistance, and we
Yes.
reach out and help as best as possible. So, anyone on the program can assist. We are willing and able, and thank you very much in advance.
Amen. I love that. I love that, Tashima. A very good plug. Okay, so Tashima, you said when we spoke, you said you are a survivor. Tell us why you're a survivor. What did you survive?
Well, I survived many things, but that two things I can mainly relate to with other young women. I survived childhood sexual abuse, and I also survived being physically, emotionally abused, right, by my spouse of many years. And I wouldn't say that persons would call yourself a victim. I am not a victim because I am here and I'm standing and I'm using my voice to help others, to encourage others. So therefore, I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. And I do
Awesome.
speak up for others because being in such a situation where I was raped, right? I was
Yes.
molested by my brother and then I was raped as well. So yeah, I know how it hurts, the trauma that comes with it. And it takes
Mm-hmm.
a long while to heal from those trauma that you go through. It's not a no healing. It's not a one-time counseling process to help you to heal. It goes on and on. Because I won't tell anyone that I'm fully healed. I am still in the healing process, right?
Yes.
Being
Yes.
in a relationship first. From I was 13 plus when I was in a relationship. It has been 19 years now with my partner, and things went downhill. Things went
Mm-hmm.
downhill a lot. We started arguing, and then the fighting started. Yeah, but after a
As
while,
continue.
but after a
Continue.
while, a couple well years of the
Mm-hmm.
same back and forth, I became a member of Heave, and I remember Auntie Joy did the
Yes.
first session with me and my partner. And then we had Auntie Marjorie, who was the counselor, and she spoke with both of us. And we came to mutual ground. And now I'm going to say teeth and tongue now meet, but there's no physical altercation happening
Right.
there, right?
Right.
So we can say men can change, right? It's just about
Tashima,
us
Tashima,
reaching a
Tashima,
mutual ground.
Tashima, take a break a while ago. You said something, and I want you to repeat
Yes.
it. You said something about what men can do, and I want you to repeat that. I want the world to hear that statement. Please say it again.
Men can change. Men can
Continue.
change
Mm-hmm.
because
It is
he is the the things that used to happen, they happen no more.
good.
If we are having a disagreement, the disagreement is there, but we
Mm-hmm.
learn to get along a lot better. There's no
Amen.
more physical altercation there,
Awesome.
right?
And
And
and that came about because of the intervention that took place from E for Life.
yes,
Awesome. And you know, for me, I am glad you brought this up because a lot of times when we hear about the survivors, the men are elsewhere, they're no longer in their lives. But now you are speaking of a different paradigm where your partner who was abusive with you before, after intervention, have decided that he will accept the help and he will change, and you guys are still together.
yes.
Good. And I see Auntie Joy saying, or saying, yes, Tashima, Auntie Joy, bigging you up. She's listening in. Awesome, awesome. So listen to me now. I want you to tell us a little bit of what the intervention was like, what it you went through, and how you got to where you are now.
All right. So the various interventions that were done were mainly counseling. They did one-on-one counseling with both of us, and they did group
Mm-hmm.
counseling. So we both were in one space where they sit down with us and right, they found out what our disagreements were, and they
Mm-hmm.
gave us pointers for us to work on. And we work on those areas. And the next time when we came, they asked us how it was, and we told
Mm-hmm.
them, and yeah, they saw improvement, and we ourselves saw improvement where we were getting along much better. So,
Very good.
and
Very
these
good.
interventions really work.
And it shows that it works because it's working for you. So if it wasn't working, then you would be able to say that don't make sense. But now you are a testimony of the fact that it works. And that is good. That is extremely, that's very, very good. And so, therefore, I'm hoping that our listeners are listening in this evening. We are hearing from someone who is walking the walk. This is when I say, she come from a sea bottom and she tell you, say, it not so rough because it can be healed. But she tell you that when she was going through it and she's still going through it, it's rough. So I hope you are listening in and you are understanding that who you are today, with help, you can become who you desire to be. So if you know who you want to be, listen to Tashima as she's telling you her survivor story. So Tashima, you said that you were raped as a child when you were younger. And then at
Yes,
13, you went into a relationship.
yes.
Okay, so where was your mom?
So while I went into a relationship
Mm-hmm.
at 13, I ran away from home because
Oh.
when I was raped, my mom is the kind of person who, well, she can't read much, and I don't hold that against her. I embrace her for it. Um, so she was the kind of person, whatever authorities say, she would believe. And
Oh.
my perpetrators were nephews of a police officer. And the morning when she went to report the matter, it
Mm-hmm.
was the young man's aunt that was there. And she said, no, my nephew not do them something there. A liar pit me a tell. And my mother believed her instead of me. And trust me, I got a whooping when I went down. So when we go home, she give it to me. And so me
My.
make people a look on her in certain ways.
So you were abused again because you were abused.
Yes.
And so this is some of the issues we have to raise. So eventually you couldn't take anymore and you ran away.
Because it just kept happening every single day. I was on the football team at school, and I told
Mm-hmm.
her, she said, you're not playing no more football. And everything was a mess because that was what kept me going. That
Yes,
was
that was
where I left all my struggles and everything. And when she stopped me from playing, I had
she took that
nowhere
away
else.
from you. Right. So how did you get into this relationship that you are now in at 13?
Well, when I ran away, I came to live in St. Anne that I'm living now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends' father lived down here, and we had come to visit them for a funeral. So I came back down, and I told
Okay.
him the issues that were happening, and he said, "Okay, I could stay for a week or two." The week or two turned into a month, and I met this young man.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met this young man, he was very nice and caring. Right? I went
Mm-hmm.
to live in a district called Endeavour, where I
Mm-hmm.
was keeping a whole lady company. And if she wants anything, I would assist her in getting it, right? And this young man was very nice to me, and he said he wanted to get to know me. And I, having really nowhere to go, so, all right, and we became friends till I started living with him. And from
Okay.
there, we have been together.
Then your mom never came for you.
No, I
She just.
called. This young
Mm-hmm.
man encouraged me to call home,
Oh, that's
and because
good.
I was always missing my dad, I always talk about my dad and my siblings, my younger siblings. And he encouraged me one day. He gave me his phone and encouraged me to call home. And I called my dad and I spoke to him first. And he was relieved to
Oh,
hear me. And he said, anytime I'm ready, I can come and visit. They're not forcing me. They just want to know that I am okay and everything.
very good. So you and your father still have a good relationship?
Well, sad to say, this year will be 16 years since I lost my father.
Oh, so he died.
He
And
died
your
right
mom?
after my first daughter was born. My
And
mom
your
is
mom?
still alive.
Okay. And you both have a better
Yes,
relationship
she's
now?
still alive.
Very
Yes,
good. Very
because
good.
I
That
spoke to
is
her
very
about the issue and how it made
mm-hmm.
me feel, and
Mm-hmm.
she understands and acknowledged where she went wrong. because I was
Beautiful.
encouraged. Because healing is not just for the person; it is for you. So when
Mhm.
you forgive somebody, that heals you a bit more, right? So the
Beautiful.
forgiveness is not really for the perpetrator, but it's for yourself. So when we bottle it up and say, all right, we are not forgiving the person, we are only hurting ourselves.
Yes. 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 And your partner knew you were coming on this evening?
Yes, he's right here.
Oh, he's right there. Awesome. Beautiful.
Yes.
And I asked the question purposely for others to understand that when healing take place, couples can stand together and become testimonies of change and will lead others to become change. I see Auntie Joy had asked a question, and she's asked a question at you. What about abusers who do not want to get help? And what would be your advice to a young lady who is in a relationship with someone who don't want to get help?
Pack your bag and run because it's only going to get
Could
worse
have said it
and you
better.
will lose your life.
Hmm. I
Just
could not
pack
have said
your
it
one
better.
bag and your pitney, pack them up and take a run, right?
Very good.
Just seek
Very
some
good.
help somewhere.
I am going to read you one young lady online here. I'm going to read you her comments after she's listening to you. She says, boy, our parents really did a number on us. But what can we do but forgive, learn, and grow from these lessons? And she also said, very intelligent young woman. And she agreed with you, run for the love of your life. And that is coming from Trivia D. Tremendous on Facebook. Thank you for listening in with us this evening, Trivia. And you have said it so very well. Run if the person will not come towards change with you. Any other thing you want to share with us, Tashima, before we set you free to go pay attention to those people out here talking around your foot who want your attention?
Well, I
Mm-hmm.
would want to encourage all our listeners tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So next week, Thursday, we'll be having Black Thursday, standing in solidarity with persons who are facing gender-based violence. So I would like to encourage you to just stand in solidarity with these young women and our boys as well, because we have boys who are facing it. So I don't want
Yes.
to exclude them and they feel left out. So we
Right.
encourage you to stand in solidarity because just one extra voice can make a difference.
That is
So
so
let us
true. One
all come
voice can make
together.
a difference.
Yes, let us
Yes.
all come together and help our sisters out of what they are
Amen.
going through.
Amen. Before you go, do you have close to you if someone wants to call into to call into E for Life and give support to you guys? How do they contact you?
So if a life number is 620-0515. That's the office number, right?
Mhm.
And we have mobile numbers. You can get to myself at 791-9920. My supervisor, Miss Stacey and Stone, 791-9917. And you can get to Miss Monique McDonald. Give me a second. Let me pull up all my executive number.
Okay, then. Yes. Auntie Joy said, big up yourself, Tashima, and spouse. Yes, man, we have to big them up. It is awesome that we have couples who have gone through their troubles, who rise together and can become advocates for change. And I am glad she said it. Men, you can change. You don't have to walk around with this banner of toxicity that is being placed upon you. You can change, just get help. Are you back with the number?
Yes, and you can contact one of our mobile executives at 791-9838. Any
Amen.
one of the numbers you call, and we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. You can just search E for Life and you will find us. We are on all social media platforms and you can
Amen.
go
And
and find out all information there.
okay, and before you go, if someone says, Tashima, you are very inspiring. You are going places, blessings and peace. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and healing moments. Thank you also, Tashima, for coming on to Healing Moments this evening to share your journey with us. Thank you so very much. And stay blessed. You can stay on and listen, or you can come off and listen. The choice is yours. But we are glad to have you with us this evening. Walk good, blessed be. We're going to play a little bit of our song again, and then we will transition to bring on our sex therapists in a moment.
It's all for you, mama, mama. Later, my whole life to say, without your love, I wouldn't make it. Through the years of time and pain, you were always there for me. You held my hands when things got rough, stood by me when things were too tough, but I never showed my gratitude. But mom, it always had been there. And time is flying by, and I know that I want the world to hear me say that mom, you're the best, the greatest. Without your love, I wouldn't make it. So sweet and kind, but in a lifetime.
Okay. As we continue to big up our moms this evening, I also want to pause to say Happy Teachers' Day to our teachers. It is without teachers, all of us who say we have education would have nothing because there would be nobody to teach us. We want to big up our teachers and those who have learned to pivot in the time that we are working now with COVID and everything. We want to give you honor. We want to give you big up. And some parents are learning firsthand what you have to put up with every day in the classroom. And so we want to honor you, teachers, this evening. Okay, my guest, Doreen Monique Young. As I told you before, she's a licensed associate clinical psychologist and a Florida board certified sex therapist. She have her own personal practice and she work along with NGOs like Eve for Life also. But I'm not going to tell you anything more about her. I'm going to allow her to tell us who she is. Good evening, Doreen. How are you this evening?
Good evening, Dr. Asha. I am well, and I see that you are too.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. We have to learn to.
Okay. Yeah, despite the challenging times we're in, right?
Amen. You have to learn to be. So tell us who you are.
Okay, well, professionally, so I've been doing work with Eve, I think for over 2 years now, just over 2 years. It's been a very rewarding experience. I've learned a lot in such a short time. I am a mother of two little ones, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. I'm a wife. And outside of all of that, the roles, the responsibilities, I am just a lover of life.
Yes.
Express gratitude daily for the things I have, and gratitude for the things I want, even if I don't have them yet, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Good. So we have spoken before, and we must pick up Auntie Joy. Thanks, Auntie Joy, for introducing me to Miss Young. It's good to have people like you can connect me with the right people sometimes and help me from venting all by myself. So it's good to have you on this evening. And as a psychologist, we just heard Tashima talking about her journey, and I'm quite sure you meet a lot of these stories every single day, and you meet persons at different level of healing or not healing at all as yet. Give me a little perspective of where you are on a mental positioning where all of this happening, and as a psychologist, give me your take on what impact gender-based violence have on or women and men who experience them. And, just let us set a background against what we are talking this evening. Tell me a little bit about what you do and what you see on a daily basis.
Okay, so as Tashima would have mentioned, we cater primarily to women and girls living with or affected by HIV/AIDS, and also those who have experienced gender-based violence. And honestly, um, it's too much. The numbers are too high.
Thank
You
you.
know, statistically, it's 1 in 4 women in Jamaica who have experienced gender-based violence, and that is too much. 1 in 4. And the thing about it is that it's not about, certain type of people. It's happening across the board, across socioeconomic backgrounds, and it is troubling.
Yes.
Another thing for me that's really troubling is, recently, there's been a lot of discussions about gender-based violence, violence against women and girls. And every week I see somebody writing to the cleaner saying, why are we talking so much about this thing? Men experience violence too. And I'm like, what? They're like, more men die than women, and and I'm like, but it's not only about women who are victims or of gender-based violence. It's also the number of women who are living and experiencing gender-based violence, and that rate is too high. It is too high. So when I see this on a daily, weekly basis, I recognize that, I mean, really, within our society, there's a problem. It is a
There
serious
is a
problem.
problem because you have
Mhm.
men who are a part of this conversation that are justifying the wickedness that is happening to women and trying to
Mhm.
compare. And I'm going to tell you, every time I see it, I want to shake somebody. I just want to shake somebody. I find
Yeah,
that all this week I keep on, after be saying stuff and say, Lord, forgive me. And I know the Lord know, and I'm not being presumptuous. He know me heart full.
believe me.
Mm-hmm. So from a
Like I,
psychological position now, how does gender-based violence impact someone?
Okay, so the thing about GBV, especially when it comes to intimate partner violence, that is, violence between romantic partners, is that it can be very complex. And a lot of times we don't recognize that this thing is happening until there is some actual physical violence taking place. But usually, long before that, the psychological or emotional violence has been taking place. And those, that type of violence is a lot more difficult for, people to identify in the relationship. So sometimes, like
Yes.
in our context, I hear we say this too often. Lord, the man a beat her. Why she not left him? Why, she just stay there? She
Mhm.
a idiot and she stay in the relationship. She not have no sense, right? But what a lot of people don't recognize is that, as I said before, the psychological piece has been happening for a long time. And when the psychological violence takes place, a lot of women, lose their self-worth, and, they have lower self-esteem. And those are things that they start to blame themselves for the events that happen in the relationship.
Mhm.
And those are things that contribute sometimes to them staying in the relationship.
Which is so true. It is so true. I know a lot of times, even the same persons that are saying why she don't leave, when she leave, they're not helping.
That she doesn't have the support.
They're not providing that net to catch her when she falls. And so that creates some of the problems that we are facing. Because a woman who is first, as you pointed out, was being emotionally abused and being groomed to accept
Accept
abuse.
that. Exactly.
Because that's what a
The-
lot of people don't realize, the women are being groomed to accept this abuse and also feel like they deserve it because it's their fault.
Yep. And that is a part of the power and control dynamic that exists within the relationship. And sometimes too, even before entering into the relationship, some social norms will contribute to some of the things that we accept in relationships. So
Mhm.
sometimes when we see them playing out in the relationship, a woman is not necessarily quick to get up and go, because we've been, as you said, groomed whether it be consciously or unconsciously,
Mhm.
directly or indirectly, to accept a lot of these things in the context of relationships. A lot of us grow up in homes where we don't have good examples of what a healthy relationship looks like.
Right.
So when we see a lot of the things that weren't so good play
Mhm.
out in our relationships, we accept it because that's what we see, that's what we know, and we try our best to just work with it, you know.
That is
But
so
time
right.
now it's time now for us to help people to understand that that's not what a healthy relationship is, and it's
Mhm.
time for us to try and change the narrative, because one of the things too is that you'll have some women in the space who they want to share, they want to tell somebody what is happening, but then there is this stigma sometimes,
Yes.
about women who experience violence. That's why, I have to give people like Tashima props, that she can come out and share her story and know that, as she said, she's not a victim, she's a survivor.
Amen.
You
Amen.
know, all our women to know too that you are survivors. Once you're still here with us, you are survivors.
Yes.
So, we need to change the narrative so that that fear, that barrier to reporting and sharing what is happening is no longer there.
Right. There's no longer there. There's no shame in standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
I see Julian May says sometimes they are financially challenged. Yes, we know that a lot of persons going through some persons going through gender based violence stay because of the finances. They stay because of the children, but most time they stay because mentally and emotionally they are trapped. Because a lot of women I know, and you can back me up on this, Doreen. A lot of the women, when they break the mental barrier, they don't mind being hungry when they're running. They will
That,
stay hungry if
that is
that's
so
what it
true.
takes. If that is
That
what
is
it
so
takes, they
true.
don't mind being hungry for what they are fighting for. And so
Because at that, hmm
because most times we think the women stay because they don't have any money, and they will tell you upfront that is why they stayed. But it is a more of the mental trap that they are in. What do you think about that?
yes, that is a big part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said before, GBV, especially in particular, intimate partner violence, can be very complex. And sometimes too, even when a woman feels like she wants to leave,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes not so easy. When just sit down and consider certain things. Sometimes at that point in time, it's not even practical,
Yeah.
because she has to think about, sometimes there are threats of violence, sometimes, and as I said, the psychological piece comes into play, and she internalizes a lot of the things that he says. She starts to believe the threats, that
Yes.
could possibly be real. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of persons will look on, but him not gonna do nothing to you. But for her,
Mm-hmm.
it is real.
Mm-hmm.
It is real. So that
Yeah.
is one thing. So fear of potentially dying, um lack of support,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes a part of the power and control too is that the perpetrator often isolates the survivor from her family members and
Yes.
sometimes her friends. So
Yeah.
sometimes she feels so alone that even if I decide to get up and go, who is gonna help me, who is
Yeah.
gonna help my children, what's gonna happen with my children, right? I don't have any skills, like how am I going to get a job? There's
Yes.
so many things that come into play. I mean, I
Yes.
can go on and on,
Please go
on and
on
on,
and on. Please go on and
because
on.
it is so complex.
We want persons to understand the conversation. So I wanted to make it as real. I wanted to share the information. I wanted to talk into the life of a woman this evening who is wondering, can I stay one more day? Maybe he'll change tomorrow. I talking to the heart of a man who don't think he can keep his hand at his side and talk and still be seen as the man that he is supposed to be. Let us have that conversation. Let us have the story going. Let us let the men know that it can't be right, and let the women understand that gender based violence, they can get help if they decide to run. Speak into their psychology of it. The world is listening to you this evening. Continue, my dear.
Okay, so one of the first things that's important for somebody to get help is to first being able to identify what um gender-based violence looks like, what intimate partner violence looks like. And especially, as I said, the psychological piece, it can be so subtle sometimes that it goes unrecognized. So that's one of the things that I want us to talk a little bit about tonight.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so like for example, so one of the things that perpetrators will do is to use humiliation and criticizing. So for example, let's say at the beginning of the relationship, right? He will probably like, tease and call you a funny name. You don't really too like it, but him say, Lord, it's a sensitive, a joke may I make and whatever, right? But then as you get into the relationship, you recognize that the name calling gets worse and worse and worse, right? He'll probably have a nickname for you, and then but the nickname is derogatory.
Humiliate.
And you say, I mean, you start to but that not really cute. But him trying to convince you that it's cute, but if somebody else to call it that, you wouldn't really accept it. But is your partner, so you say, all right, fine, him don't mean me no harm, right? Then he will say things like, you're getting ready to go out, and he'll probably start to insult your appearance and say things like, Lord, oh, you let them look so fascinating the skirt. You really go up on the road, make people see you look like that, things like that, right?
Yes.
And then he'll start to belittle your accomplishment. So let's say, for example, you get a degree, and you're so excited you get your degree, and you're going to tell him, and you say, finally, after all of this hard work, I have my degree. And then him say, yeah, okay, Shanna get her degree too, and she get first class honors. It better you can get a job with first class honors. You can get any job you want, and all of a sudden your degree no matter,
It's so
it's
good
completely
again.
insignificant,
Yes.
right? Things like him being dismissive. You're talking about something, and him not really entertain that too much, and even as I said, even in the example with the degree, completely disregard your excitement and the thing that you
Have a
work so hard for, right? And yeah, so things like, for example, putting down, I know I saying a lot, but there are so many
No, you
things.
need to say a lot, girl. Continue speaking. You're not saying too much.
Okay, so things like put down your interest. So let's say, for example, you decide to do an art class,
Yes.
and you do it on your own, you don't do it with him. And about the third week, he's like, why you keep going after you can't paint no better? Look at what you do. I mean, you're not getting no better at it, and and that kind of thing. All
Yes.
because you're doing it by yourself, and he really don't want you to be by yourself, right? So another thing is, in general, controlling behavior. So he'll probably threaten you. You find say him looking through your phone all the time, calling you every half an hour, 15 minutes, where you're there, who that's in the background, and all of that, lecturing you as to what you do from what you don't do, financial control, walking out on you when you're having a conversation because he needs to have the last word, right? Using others to justify his behavior. So saying things like, yeah, it's not me alone thinks so, your cousin thinks so too. And and all, even if not go so, right? Even if not go so. So accusing, blaming, and denial as well. So you find that quite often these perpetrators are extremely jealous. They don't want you to talk to nobody. They don't want them don't want you have no friend. If you talk to your friend is a problem, all of these things. Turning the tables on you, denying something that they know, that they did it, right? You have all the proof, but not taking responsibility, none at all, right? Using guilt all the time, blaming everything on you, right? So it's not their doing, and even if it is their doing, it's because of you.
Yes.
So I get this angry and I hit you because you do this, and you keep on getting on my nerves, and you keep on doing what I don't want you to do, right?
Yeah.
And then there are other things like emotional neglect. So they demand respect, They shut down communication sometimes. So they have an argument, they walk out, they're not answering the phone for days and all of those things. They withhold affection. You want to hug them, they don't want to hug you because so they control when it happens. So I know I said a mouthful, but all of these things sometimes are happening, right? And we don't recognize that they're happening, and we don't recognize that they're a form of violence. But these are some of the things that I want us to talk about more because these things are indicators of
Yes.
violence in a relationship. And the thing too is that if these things get out of hand, then they start to play on our psyche, they play on our self-esteem, our self-worth, and they start to go down, right? We start to internalize a lot of these things. We start to question ourselves, right? We
Yes.
start to criticize ourselves through the lens of our partners, and that can be healthy. And those things make it very difficult for us to leave the space. So for example, too, like a partner, a perpetrator will say things like, I love you, and that's why I do this, and nobody else not going to love you like how I love you, and you love me with all your faults that I stay with you. You should be grateful that I stay with you. And you
Yes.
start to question yourself. So you
Yeah.
before this relationship felt like you were so confident, you had everything together. Because remember I say, these things don't only happen to women who are financially unstable. They happen
No.
across sociodemographic. So you have a woman who have a house or car or a big job, leadership position, can
Yes.
still experience intimate partner violence, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Happens.
So that's what I want, us to recognize and take it out of the context and of believing that it only happened to certain kind of people, because it does not. There are certain things and situations that make people more vulnerable to it.
Right.
However, it can still happen to anybody.
Yes, it can happen to anybody. Alison Harvey Williams says the mental aspect plays a major role. Some simply don't have the knowledge and skills to move forward. And that is what you have been highlighting this evening. But I also want to look at the fact. I think his name is, I don't remember the name of the professor, and I don't want to call the wrong name. But a professor that he wanted to make it to a point to say that most of the gender-based violence, most domestic violence have to do with about money. And we are saying that is not the story. That is not true. That is simply not so, because a lot of women who earning good money, have money, the man have money, are still experiencing domestic violence. And we have to accept that.
Yeah,
Continue, man.
because the bottom line is it has to do with power and control. That's the bottom line. And women are women are mostly victims of gender-based violence because we are perceived to have less power.
Yes. And we believe
So
it all.
it's not only so-called poor man want power, rich man want power, in between man want power. So it
Everybody
really,
wants power.
everybody want little power, right? So it really, as I said, there are certain circumstances or factors that will make some persons more vulnerable to it.
Yeah.
However,
Mhm.
it happens across the board. It really does not matter where
Yes.
you come from, what you do, or how much you earn.
It does happen across all economic, social,
All
and
economics,
all of these platforms. It happens. There's
yeah,
a lady I know of. She's no longer in Jamaica. She was a teacher at a particular school, and she was along with the sixth former. And if she's at work and a male teacher should touch her, hug her, or when school over, she said, "Go on because I have to do some catch up in the office." And he realized that two or three male persons are in that office. When she get home, remember she's the one working. She's the one paying for this boy for the go to school and doing exams and everything. And when she reach home, she getting a beating.
mm-hmm.
She getting a beating and she take her beating and come back to school tomorrow morning, come smile. And she was the one, technically speaking, who had the power, but she was not empowered. And we like to say,
Ah,
empowerment is not, you cannot get it at university. Nobody can empower you. People like to say, I empowered her. No, you can't empower people. You motivate them to be empowered, or you cannot empower them.
Power
Empowerment
them.
have to be embraced from within. You have to get up one day and say, I am not taking this anymore. But so, and that is one of the things psychologically, we need as a people to let women know that when you run, we are here for you. There is somebody that will catch you when you are falling. We need to create that net that support women. But we also need to speak into our men to stop it. We don't want our women to have to run. So
Yeah.
it has to be a cohesive transformation thing that we're working on. We can't be working on one side. And I believe we are where we are. Coming up from a teenager until now, I always hear the two sides of the coin. At this time, society is fixing the men because they are broken. Then next time, society is fixing the women because they are being abused. What if we do the fixing on both sides at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to recognize. And I remember, and it's just this week I was talking about it because I had completely forgotten about it. And then in a conversation on Monday, I came back to me. I remember when I was going to public health school and we were sent out in the field to do something. I don't even know what we were out there doing. But it was a greater ratio of men to women because in the group is like 30 something male and 8 women who started out. And so each group you go out, you might have 7 men and 1 girl in that batch. And so we were out there, and a gentleman came to me and said to me, because I was taking notes, and gentleman said to me, oh, so you are the secretary? I said, secretary for what? And he said, for the guys. I said, no. So you're a public health inspector, they turn to like them? I said, yes. And he said, what is wrong with one of them flying at God's face? So I said, how am I flying into God's face? And he said, if me away for your man, I give a fine Hassan. You know what you're supposed to do home barefoot and pregnant. You know, and I wanted to get upset, but I didn't even get upset. And I looked at him and I smiled. And I said to him, I was in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant and quite comfortable being in there. But I was sitting down in there barefoot and pregnant and couldn't get nothing to put in the pot, to put on the pot. So I came out, find my own food to put in the pot, and I ain't going back.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, when I answered him that way, he was like, Asha, fierce, I'm bright too. And held his hand at his side. And I said to myself, if he could, he would have hit me. He would have hit me if I was to call him anything, or maybe I was alone. He would have hit me. And this is a bowels of that all women have to put up with. Men who still have not realized that. You know, the other day a woman asked me a question, and as I remember it, I'm talking and I had to laugh. She said, then Master God can come back and do our next surgery. So I said, what kind of surgery? Put all our if you sleep and take one or two, put in a demand them. Make they understand how woman feel. Because it look like they don't understand. You know, I laughed, but I understand her pain.
Yeah.
Because we are living in a society that cannot do without us, but still do not value us as a society. And we are living amongst women who don't know their value. And because they don't know their value, they take away value from other women. So when a woman is killed or abused, we have sisters who will come out and be the first to tear her down and victimize the victim. Even that is a psychological problem, you know. Because it's not only the women that we see come out that are being abused. Psychologically, it also affects those of us who are looking on. Because some of us looking on believe that what is happening is the norm.
Listen, I remember I was facilitating a group, and we were talking about GBV. Yes. And one of the participants, she was speaking about her partner, and she was talking about, you know, the fact that her partner wash and him cook and him clean. She said, all my panting with a wash. And she was so disgusted. She was so disgusted because for her, man shouldn't do that.
Imagine. I didn't know she had a...
I'm like, bring the man come.
How many women would
Because
want such a man
yes, but then
and would
it just
value him?
it would value him. But it just
Yes.
dawned on me like we have so much unlearning to do in our society because
We
our
have a
gender
unlearning.
norms are not
Yes.
only it's not only men that are affected, women are affected too.
Yes, and
You
believe
know,
it. I remember I
and
met I
it's
was talking. Yeah, go ahead.
oh sorry, you can go ahead.
No, I remember I was talking to a young lady once. I don't remember what we were doing and where we were, but it was getting late. And she said, Lux, I forgot left now. I forgot to cook my husband dinner. You're not going to cook for your husband dinner. Suppose you catch on before you. And I was like, if you reach on before me, I'm hungry and cook. And she, really? No, son, I forgot to cook my husband dinner. And then, after we have been associating for a while, one evening, she said, you know what? I mean, after run go, I was brought up to think that I have to do it this way. That so even if the man reach home before her, she was brought up to think that she have to go home or cook him dinner. She was brought up to think that he have to get the biggest fish all the time. And all of this, she was brought up this way. And a lot of our women are brought up this way.
Myself included. No, it's true. And the thing is, in my early 20s, I recognized that I had a lot of unlearning to do, not even recognizing that I learned these things because nobody is telling me that I should or shouldn't do these things. My mother isn't telling me I should or shouldn't. Neither is my father.
No.
But I recognize, it's, through school and, learning and seminars and all of these things. I'm like, but because I subscribe to a lot of these things without even recognizing it. Unconsciously, this is how I operate.
It is true. And for me, and sometimes you don't learn to count your blessing until you see the other side of the coin. Because
Yeah.
I grew up I remember I was living with my grandmother and her husband. He's not my grandfather, but he was a good grandfather to us anyway, Mr. Becky. And I remember we learned, my grandmother used to say, my grandchildren, you will not learn about the chicken parts because you hear about it. So, Mr. Becky, don't get chicken leg and breast every week, every Sunday. Sunday is a big cook. Some Sundays as children, we got chicken breast, we got chicken leg. We were brought up that way. I grew up with a mom. I grew up in a home where there was no boy work or girl work. I remember once as a child, my stepfather put on the money and say, all right, if you don't know, nobody know what go market and supermarket, eat the money, then come in now and go. So I grew up in a way where the father go market, the stepfather go market, and it's not anything to us. It's not the women who have to go. So I grew up with a different outlook. I grew up where you don't have to go home, go cook the man dinner. However, we were also still either learn it or taught it. We don't know. So if we still treat the man like a special. So our men were treated special. You make sure to them dinner and set up nice and them play and all of that. And I don't remember I was ever called in a group and instructed, but you learn it by what is happening around you. I normally say learn it by osmosis. It's happening around you, it just seep into your psyche and the norm. Listen, and sometimes you listen to what that lady say about that lady because she never did this. And I remember once when my great grandmother was saying to me that if as young girls, learn to darn, they should never say so, learn to darn up things. And I don't remember those words. Do you know these words? We have to darn up the
maybe
clothes.
one or two, maybe.
And we have to do these things. Or else, she said to me, great grandma said to me, you ever look at their first time board house, them how the corner, the board that make them rough? It is because the men will use us as women to smooth them down if you can't do nothing in the house. I will never forget that conversation. And my grandmother knows, so my great grandmother said that, and my grandmother said over my dead body. So I was being transitioned by one woman who believed that you must honor your man to the full, even to the price of your own self, while I was transitioned with a grandmother now who believes that both man and woman have equal places. in society. And I think what happened, my great grandmother then grew up a country down at Westmoreland. But my grandmother now at an early age went to Kingston and then to Montego Bay. So she was liberated. And she picked the side of liberation where men and women are equal. And then it was passed on to some of us. But I have aunts who will lie down, walk naked, anything to make sure to them man all right. Fortunately for me, I never learned that lesson very well, and me not think me go learn again. And God has been good to me. God has been good to me that I don't have a perfect husband, unfortunately. I don't know where that mold is. I don't know what God did in mold, so I didn't get one. And if I did find a mold, I'd make one. But the one I have at home, I learned to appreciate him every time I hear some stories out there. Because my husband wash, cook, clean, and iron. He does everything. And he does it very well. He's very good at it. And him is one of those now, then maybe Miss Sarah sometimes saying can wash, cook, clean, and iron good. Because it make him both. It make him both, and I have nothing over him. You understand? I don't know over him. So two of us have to work equally and share equally and talk equally and work out our challenge equally. But as we are talking and we're looking at these little psychological ways that the men can take away your honor, because sometimes I will look at it to say, when I go home now and I achieve something and I tell him don't act like it's anything big. But then recently I raised a conversation and I realized that if I get a degree as a doctor, that is nothing to him because he expects me to get it because he thinks I can get it and I'm bright enough and I'm brilliant enough and I'm awesome enough. So that is a small thing for me. Maybe if I told him I had gotten the moon, or I'd say, wow, the moon. And so he expects that I can do these things. And we need partners to understand that if you don't affirm your own, my God, who you expect to affirm them?
Exactly. And as you gave the example with your partner. So while yes, he may not be over the moon after you get the degree because he has that expectation of you. While you're doing the degree, he's not putting you down and discouraging you.
No.
You get me? So that is the difference. And the thing too, you said you made a good point when you said that, your partner not perfect, mine not perfect either. But the difference is, and like I can use my husband for example, one of the things that I appreciate with him, and for me is the most attractive thing, is that if I am disgruntled about something, I am unhappy with something that he did, right?
Right.
He's going to take it into consideration. He's going to look into himself and he's going to see how he can make things better. That is something that I appreciate about my husband.
And we have to speak these truths. We have to honor the men we have, that other men listening on. Oh, goodness, something just coming to my head and I'm going to just boast and carry on now. Tomorrow is the 6th of May, right, Julia? Tomorrow is the 6th of May. Come tomorrow. It starts already because I believe in sunset to sunset. So tomorrow start for me tonight. And come the 6th of May, I have been married for 26 years to the same man. Awesome.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Remember that my anniversary was tomorrow, today, whichever one we're going to look at it. And it has not been perfect because I had a session with some women recently, and they're all married women who have been married for more than 20 years. And one of the questions, I was asked to convene this session, and it happened that everybody was over 20. So it's something that them planned. I was just a facilitator and a guest speaker. But one woman asked a question, and so sometimes we have to ask ourselves these questions. She said, all of them both were married for over 20 years. How many of those 20 years were you single? And all of us start to, and you think about it because it's the truth. Abuse come in so many different forms, and you have single women who are being abused who believe that if the man had married them, it would have been better, and don't realize that God kept them that they can run without worry.
Blessing.
because, and I brought out the point is because I want to point out that the wedding ring don't change the circumstances. So if you are in an abusive relationship, don't believe when you marry it will change. It will not, unless you get help.
Yes, change should come first before you decide to take that path.
Amen.
And Tashima and her partner are testament to the fact that change can happen. But the
Amen.
important thing is that both parties need to be willing,
yes,
to make the necessary steps for that change to happen.
Yes. Yes, and it is very important. And change can happen. Change is available. Help is available for change. But you have to first realize that you are broken and you need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some of the relationships go bad too because women are toxic too. But they love talking about male toxicity. Some of us women are toxic too because we have been brought up in terrible situations. Tashima could have been a toxic young woman, but she got help and chose to be healed. And so she's on a path of healing. So toxicity happens when we are broken and we need help and we don't want
and we
to
don't get it. And like as you mentioned, Tashima, and reflect on her childhood experience.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to reiterate the fact that the response that a victim or survivor receives after an event has an impact on the long-lasting effect of the event.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, her man beating her to a pulp, and she managed to escape the house and run to the police station. And when she got to the police station and tell the police officer what happened, the police said to her, "Is why you burn up the man food?" And him and another officer starts to laugh.
Imagine.
That is going to impact her help-seeking behavior.
Of course.
And reinforce that self-blame and stuff that it's a big deal that she got out of the space and run to the station. That's a big deal for her.
Yes.
And to, to not have her, to be dismissed again.
Mm-hmm.
To be dismissed again is re-traumatizing.
Yes.
So I say that to say, if you are someone who a survivor trusts enough to confide in, with what is happening to her, listen, be compassionate.
Yes.
Right? And listen again, because I don't want you to feel like you need to necessarily give an answer. But what the survivor needs is a safe space. A safe space where she can share and kind of work through all of the things that are happening with her. And yes, you may not feel equipped to help, but
listen.
Work with her to see how you can get her some help.
Because what you said is very important. Allow her to speak that she can work it through in her head. Because a lot of times women know how to get help themselves if they're in a safe space where they can work it out. They'll remember that they have an auntie, they have an uncle that they could go to, that the relationship had cut off. And they realize, no, I could try that avenue. Because a lot of time in this space of abuse, you are being told that nobody wants you.
Nobody wants you. Yeah. And that's something that I want, if any survivors are listening, that's something that I want to, reinforce as well. The fact that the persons who you were closest to, even if you not talk to them for a year, they're still there.
They're still there.
And they love you same way.
Same way.
Same way.
And they will help you.
They will help. Exactly. So go to them. Those persons will offer you a safe space.
And that is very important for them to understand. And also, this evening, one person on Facebook is saying, I like that. Motivate them to be empowered. Yeah, it is very important that as our people listen, as our women listen, and accept that gender-based violence is real. It is not your fault why you are being abused, but also for the abusers this evening, I want us to speak to them. So, Doreen, speak to the abuser, speak to the man who is beating that woman, talk to him from a psychological point of view.
I can say that intuitively, you know that what you're doing is wrong. You know what you are doing, and you have the power to stop.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
have the power to control yourself. You have the power to control your emotions. You have the power to control your hand. You have the power to control your mouth. Use that power. You want power? Use that power.
Yes.
Right? And use that power too to make the necessary steps to get some help, because help is available to you.
Amen. Speak to the woman who is being abused now.
You are loved. You are beautiful. It is not your fault. It is not your doing. You don't need to be afraid, because support is here for you.
Yeah.
Non judgmental, compassionate support is here for you. And help is here to get you to a place of understanding what is happening with you, and also to get you to a place where you can make decisions that you know are in your best interest. Because I know intuitively, again, that you know that what is happening to you, you don't deserve it.
You know.
So seek some help.
Yes. And you know it's not right.
It's not right, you know.
If you would thought it was right, you wouldn't tell a lie to say you buck up in a wall or those things when somebody asks you
Exactly.
what happened to you. You would speak your truth. And Doreen, I really want to thank you for partnering with us this evening on Healing Moments. And so for my listeners, you are listening to Healing Moments on Fit FM 96.7. And we have been listening to my guest, Doreen Monique Young. So Doreen, we have spoken a lot about gender-based violence and all those violence. There's something I wanted to give a little bit of tip on before you walk off, right? I see here that you're a Florida board certified sex therapist. What that means, child, and who you help and how you help. Tell us about that part. Me and Julia one if we can come.
So primarily in practice, I so most of my work right now where sex therapy is concerned has to do with people who have experienced sexual violence. But outside of that, it's also about persons who are experiencing sexual dysfunction. So that has to do with interruptions in the sex cycle. So issues with desire, arousal, orgasm. Yeah, no, yeah. Um, yeah.
A
In a
long
nutshell.
time. So if persons want to get in touch with Doreen Monique Young for her services, how do they reach you?
Okay, so they can give me a call at 782-1291, or they may email evolve holistic therapy at gmail.com.
Okay, awesome. So there you have it. We are speaking this evening with Doreen Monique Young. She is a clinical psychologist associate, and she is also certified sex therapist. And I like persons who are able to be rounded like that. Is something that I really like, because we have needs at different level of the familial relationship, and so that is very good. So she's available not only to work with persons in the NGOs, but you can call upon her for personal support. And so this evening, I want to thank you for taking some time out away from your family, the evening time, family time, to speak with us this evening and speak to my listeners all over the world. Because, girl, I can tell you, we have listeners all over the world that you are speaking to this evening. And I can see that the messages I'm getting, a lot of persons are thankful for it. And I see somebody send me a message to say she need to come back one evening just to talk about the sex therapist part. Well, no, you have.
Okay, we can organize that.
We're going to have to organize that later on, that persons can call it with them sex talk. All right. So thank you for partnering with us this evening, girl. Walk good, stay blessed, and give thanks for the husband you have and the family you have. And let us use that as we pivot to help others. Let's continue the fight until one day, hopefully, we have to fight no more. Stay blessed.
Okay. Thanks for having me. And remember, you can donate to EU. Feel free.
Oh, yes.
Remember,
you can donate to EU. Feel free to donate to EU for life. Amen. Amen.
All right. Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
I walk good.
Say I am blessed and highly favored. Who I am. and highly favored. Yes, I am blessed and highly favored. I was bought at a price, a godly sacrifice. Say I am blessed and highly favored.
Yes, so remember this evening's program was brought to you by Plant Gallery out of Cary Park. It is still not too late to contact them for your plans for Mother's Day and for any other occasion. You can reach Clifton or Faye Davy at 876-471-4448 or 876-793-9132 for all your planned services. They will wrap it. They will make it look really beautiful for you. So give them a link up. I want to thank them for being our community partner on Healing Moments this evening. I really want to say a big shout out and thank you to both my guests this evening, Tashima Brown and Doreen Monique Young, for coming on and speaking into our lives. I want to thank my listeners on Facebook, YouTube, and all those who are listening on us live streaming. Wherever you are this evening, I want to big you up. I want to say to you, this evening, if you're experiencing any form of domestic violence, reach out. Help is available. I want to say to you, if you're a perpetrator this evening, reach out. Help is available. Help is always available. And as I affirm you this evening, I want to say to you, call out to God. And this is what I'm saying we are to say. Lord, we struggle daily with setbacks, clearly orchestrated by the enemy of man. It is hard to explain to others why at times so many things go wrong for us. But Lord, we too must understand that spiritual things are not easily understood by us. Please help us to hold on to our faith, even when we cannot clearly see, because we know you are working everything for our good. Father, teach our hearts to move forward in faith, even when the quicksands of life seek to pull us under. I'm saying to you this evening, my friend, if you are listening in, reach out and reach up. You do not have to do this journey alone. The Father is waiting to journey with you, and you have friends like Healing Moments and Fit FM 96.7, Doreen and Tashima, If for Life, Wellness in Motion. We are here to support you as you journey through life. And before I go, I want to say to you, if you are listening in this evening and in any way you can sow into the organizations that are creating the support and the change, If for Life, Wellness in Motion, we need your support. And I'm saying to someone this evening, if you have a house that you are not using right now, lend us that we can use it to become transitional homes for women who are being abused. We need your partnership. We need your support. Lend it to us. We'll take good care of it. And we will make sure when you want it back, you can get it back. We will not take it away. We'll just borrow it, that we can sow into somebody's life. So if you have a house, lock up. Don't allow the house to die because there's no life in it. Let us use it to sow into the life of others. Partner with us. Let us create that agreement. If this evening you are listening in and you can give $500, $1,000, whatever you can give to ensure that our children can get to go on, they get data to go on to do their schoolwork. Some of the young women who we are working with, they need to go online to do their hard programs and the other training programs that they are doing. We need your support in providing data. So if you can help, reach out to us you can reach out to us at the numbers that we have given, and also at 876-870-2284. Let's partner together to build another as we journey together this evening. So we want to say goodbye from Healing Moments. Walk good. We love you. It's Dr. Asha Mwendo saying, blessed be.
A godly sacrifice. Say I am blessed and highly favored. I'm so blessed. No Nobody can steal my joy or take my love away. I'm so blessed that God provides for me in every single way. I'm so blessed that God grants me mercy each and every day. So blessed, yes, I am so blessed.